Hey everyone, today on Level Select, we're talking about the recently renovated Bellair Golf Park in Glendale, Arizona, with Mariah Swigart, also known as Miss Swag Golf. She's a former college player. She's in the PGA's PGM Associate Program. She gives amazing golf instruction, and she helps us decide if this course will pass some of the must-play test questions. There's some audio issues in the very beginning, but we took care of it pretty quick. This is a great episode, and I hope you enjoy.
Mariah, welcome to Level Select. How's it going today?
Oh, it's so good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being on here.
Of course, we're super excited to have you on. We're super excited to chat all the things about Bellair Golf Park in Glendale, Arizona. I need to specify to everyone listening at home, we are not talking Bellair Country Club in Los Angeles.
That is true. Very different.
Yeah. Two very different courses, two very different vibes, two very different
Mhm.
climates.
Yeah.
But I want to get our listeners at home a little bit familiar with you. You're
Okay.
super active on social media as Miss Swag Golf. You host the Meaningful Topics podcast. You are a
Mhm.
member of the PGA Associate Program. You run your own production agency. You play actively in the Grass League. When do you find time to actually play golf?
Well, I think I try to say yes to any opportunity that allows me to play. So then, even if it's a work event or a fundraiser of some sort or the grass league, I say yes to it. And then learn from it too. Like the grass league, for example, I probably won't be invited back because I did not play well. But I love the opportunity to play, and if I can schedule that, then I absolutely will. If it's just recreational, I don't find myself booking very many tea times for myself anymore. But it's almost more fun to do it for an event or for, some sort of activity.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, do not feel bad about putting up a not so great score at Goat Hill. It is notorious for being just a very underestimated, difficult golf course.
Oh,
We've
yes.
ranked it here on our regular podcast must play. I'm a San Diego native. Sean's been out and played Goat multiple times when visiting, and it's a very underassuming, like what, 5,500 yards, Sean?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
54.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. And they made it longer. They really mixed it up on people too, because there are quite a few people who are local to San Diego playing in the grass league, and they wanted to challenge them and kind of make it feel like an even playing field and make the go even harder. So that was
Yeah.
fun. They added a lot of yardage to it. So it's fun just to be challenged in that way. But in December, when they have their championship at the grass clippings, I will be covering socials and be behind the camera. Well, I guess in front of the
very
camera, but
cool.
not on the tee
Oh,
box.
cool.
So
Very
Were
cool.
you,
I,
were
I
you there
enjoy that.
earlier this year for the Open at Grass Clippings?
Yes, yeah, that was very fun. I got to cover some of the socials as well, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was there for that too. That was a great event to watch. It's always fun watching people who are really good at golf come to your home track or do something on
Yes.
your course, like Goat
Hmm.
or Grass Clippings, and you just see the holes in a different light. Like how easy it
Hmm.
is when they pick their spots on the green. You're like, I'm just trying to hit the green.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Or like when there are crowds, the whole course changes when there is a bunch of
Yeah,
spectators, and you're like, wow, this is so fun. And stadiums are built, and you're like, this is a whole new light to a course that I normally play casually.
yeah. What's your favorite style of golf? Like, what type of course would you prefer to play?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I really do like desert courses. I mean, I grew
Yeah,
up in Indiana, and so that landscape is always interesting to me. Plus, I feel like there's a chance I can hit it. Like if I hit, miss fairway or hit it in the desert, I still feel like there's a chance I could find it and hit it out of the sand or off
yeah,
the rocks. And when where I grew up in Indiana, once you were in the trees, you were done for. So, I like having a little bit of a silver lining if I hit it off the
yep.
grass.
I hear that.
Very cool. Very cool. So I want to learn a little bit more about you before we dive into Bel Air. But before we do that, I just want to take a quick moment to highlight the sponsor of today's episode, Devro Golf. Yeah, so I just wanted to take a quick second to thank our new sponsor of the podcast, Devro Golf. They're an Arizona-based, family-owned golf apparel and accessories company that Sean and I have been huge fans of from afar, but now we're excited to be officially partnered with. They're going to be sponsoring us. We're going to be wearing them on the podcast. They're going to be giving all of you guys a 20% off discount code for the foreseeable future. So you're going to head over to devrogolf.com. I'm going to spell it out for you. It's a little tough. It's DEVEREUX golf.com and use code FAIRWAGERS20 to get 20% off your order today. Okay, so jumping back in, Mariah, you were actually just talking about growing up in Indiana and learning golf in the woods, and I wanted to kind of first touch upon like tell us about your history with golf, what got you into it, kind of lead us. You don't have to lead us up until this very day, but tell us how you got your start in golf and how we kind of got to where we're at.
Oh yeah. So I played growing up. It was kind of just a pastime that my dad and I would do, and he would always bring me like just a fun activity that's free to do is going to the public courses and chipping and putting. So bringing our shag bag and had to make one of us had to make it in before we could leave, that sort of thing,
Nice.
which was always fun. Yeah. So we enjoyed that. I probably should have spent more time putting, to be honest, but have a fond relationship with chipping. And so, yeah, it was always, kind of just something I did and joined the middle school girls golf team. There wasn't much, many of us, and there wasn't much emphasis on that program. So, middle school, high school, we played locally and it was fun. It was a fun way to bond with people, and you saw the same faces and you had the same teammates, through your entire career and elementary through high school, really. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wasn't really planning on playing college golf. It didn't sound like something I wanted to really pursue. It sounded like a lot of challenges and time spent away from academics. But I still reached out to coaches because the scholarships were there. And at the
Yes.
time, yeah, it was like a no brainer to just try.
So it's funny that you mentioned the thing about golf scholarships because we were talking about it right before we hopped on the pod, where we were talking about like there's like 5,000 plus female golf scholarships that go like unclaimed every year. So really, like just spamming them out there is actually probably a pretty good technique to actually get your name out there. And there's probably a strong likelihood that if you're a female that plays golf in high school, you're going to pick one up if you try.
Yeah, honestly, and I mean, this was 10 years ago, not to age myself, but this was a while ago. So, times have changed, and obviously, golf has become more popular, a little more competitive for girl golfers. However, there's still a lot of universities and colleges that are just now starting female golf programs, and they have the funding, but they don't have the players. So, yes, I fully believe that stat and highly recommend girls if they're in college or looking at colleges, just put it out there and see. From my experience, I was in cold Indiana and I wanted to go somewhere warm. And so I literally just looked up all NAIA. So NAIA is another avenue I tell people to look into. It's kind of overlooked sometimes. So you have your NCAA, Division One, Two, and Three, but
Mm-hmm.
then you have NAIA, which is these private schools that have a lot of funding, a lot of private funding too. And sometimes they're a little bit tougher to get into, but honestly, I think that's not necessarily true. It's just maybe a couple more applications. Um,
Yeah.
but they have a lot of smaller universities are starting their girls golf programs, and the demand, I shouldn't say the demand, but in my experience, it wasn't as competitive, so I had more opportunities there with these NAIA schools. Whereas, if I went to a D school or D1 or 2 school, I probably wouldn't get to travel very much or play very much. Whereas these teams are smaller, they're taking on more variety of players and different skill levels. So, yeah, I highly recommend that because the funding is typically there at those schools, and you get to travel more because the divisions are more spread out.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, NAIA, most of the schools were in California. So we got to go to
Yep.
California often. And that
Nice.
was very fun. But yeah, so I reached out to a bunch of NAIA schools in warm states and then just kind of figured I sent my stats, sent my swing video, and just took the highest scholarship, to be honest with you. And that's what I recommend. Even if you're not interested when you graduate high school, give it some time because I made my decision just a few weeks before school started.
Oh wow.
And college started. Yeah. So you have the summer to think about it, weigh your pros and cons, and maybe spend some time at home, take a break from school, and then you might decide you want to get back into it. Once fall rolled around.
So like in college, I didn't play in college, but I assume that, we're at that age or young where you're thinking this could be the career path for me. Did you have that mindset, or were you in the back of your mind like, should this not work out, I am fully prepared to go into the workforce doing something that I'm taking a degree in? Like, what was that mindset in college?
Yeah, for myself personally, I was really excited to get out into the career workplace and start my career in teaching. I was really passionate about that. And so it wasn't something I was always pursuing. I know several other people were, and the opportunities are there. You can change your entire outlook in your golf game in 1 year. It depends on how much you invest in it, right? So college is really formative years of deciding if you want to take it further or not. That wasn't there for me, but I will say I invested a lot in the opportunities. I wanted to obviously be a part of everything while I was there, and then there's some also other events that were like fundraisers and things that we would play in. And I remember thinking, like, these are such unique opportunities that I want to hopefully pursue and continue in my adult years too, to be able to go, which I'm doing, to go to events and fundraisers and be able to do that. And that's something that I found a passion for while in college because of the opportunities. So the college players out there, if you have a chance to play in like a little charity event or something, I highly recommend it. And from what I've heard, you kind of get a little refreshed too, because it's, usually a scramble. It's kind of fun. And a lot of times college students are dealing with burnout from the sport. So that's kind of a fun way to kind of mix it up. And then you can just enjoy the sport again and meet new people.
Yeah.
I think that's a good mindset to take to anyone who's feeling burnt out with golf, is just go play a scramble with your friends. I've never walked away from playing, whether it was just us playing a friendly scramble on the weekend, playing like a 2-man versus another 2-person scramble, or actually like signing up for a tournament. It makes you feel so much better about your golf game because you only end up remembering all the good shots that you hit, and you can just easily forget about the bad ones.
No, it's so
mind clear.
The only downside is that team carding a 47 or some stupid number.
I gave up the idea of winning a scramble a long time ago.
It's like a casino. You're not expecting money. You're just there to have a good time. It's entertainment,
I'm there for vibes, the 2 free drink tickets, the swag bag, and the dinner. Like that, or the lunch. Like that's whatever I signed up for that showed up like on the thing on the sign up page. I'm cool with that. That's what I've assumed that I'm walking away with that.
Yeah, totally.
So Mariah, obviously you were going down the teaching path, and that's kind of what I would assume that's probably what led you to what you've been doing a lot of more recently, right? Tell us more about that.
Yes. Well, I love teaching. The passion is still there. But in the public school setting, it was a lot. The classroom management and kind of, having the passion to make sure the kids are really learning and passing their tests is a lot of work. So I'm grateful where I am, and I'm also grateful for the lessons I learned there, and tip my hat to all the teachers out there. They are rock stars. I'm glad I'm finally at the point where I was able to take both passions in life and kind of mold them together. And I always, it's one of those things. I watched my golf coaches growing up, and I would be like, why are you doing this all day? You're in the sun. Your skin is like so leathery. Like, like I could never do that. And then here I am. But nowadays, it's nice that you have, what I really love is the clinics. And there's so many options when in inspiring others to play golf. You don't have to be, like, I don't claim to be a super high level swing coach. I don't, understand the depths of all the biomechanics. And it would honestly take people and spent so much time and effort to really be experts on the swing. And that's something I haven't put in the time for, to be honest. I'm in the PGM program, and I'm learning from excellent coaches. But my passion is just to get people excited about the sport and to learn it, and to feel confident walking onto the golf course. So I find the most benefits for myself and my style of teaching to be through clinics where people get to come together and network and then feel like they learned something, walk away learning something, feel more confident about their swing and playing the game as a whole. So that's how the worlds have kind of meshed. And, the education learning styles have not changed very much, whether you're an elementary student or an adult. So it's kind of nice to be able to simplify the game a lot, and take what I've learned as, education major into now the golf range.
Yeah. Okay. So building off of that, I want to ask you kind of a fun question here. Mm-hmm. What are 3 tips that you think are applicable to golfers of all skill levels?
I love that. Well, first off, it's finding your target, like really committing to the target. So, understanding a little bit first about the distance in between, like what club you're going to choose. But first off is know where you want to hit the ball. And I think that's a big part of it.
And then also, I think the second tip would be finding your natural swing. A lot of us we have a lot of more athleticism than we think, just from throwing a ball. I think your body understands how to work in that way. And so if you can harness that energy of, this is how my body works to get this ball from here to there, I can now take it a little bit more vertically and use a club to hit the ball too. So simplifying it as much as possible. And I like to do that through drills, but there's lots of ways to do that. I think wall throws is a big one for me that I encourage people to do. Yeah. Take a ball, throw it against, kind of use your golf swing, but throw it against the wall. And your body's like, oh, I know how to do that. Like, I understand what I need to do to get the ball to bounce back to me off the wall. So I think that's simple. So first one is make sure you're committed to your target. Choose your target, commit to it. Second is don't overthink it. Trust your swing. Golf is a game of misses, and the people who win just miss a little bit less. But if you have that mentality with it of, I'm not going to be hitting my target every single time, but I'm going to be close, and then I'm going to work with my miss. And I'd rather miss on this side of the fairway than that side of the fairway. Yeah. Simplifying would be the second. And then third, I'd say have fun with it. So find your people, find your crew. The advice is to play with better golfers than you are, but you want to have fun with it too. So, keep going to meetups or signing up for one spot. I'll be random to meet people. That usually works to find people you can keep practicing with, and they'll get you out to the golf course because, the more time you spend out there, you'll see more improvements each time you play.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
The first one you just mentioned, pick your target, right? Yeah. Commit to your target. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
If I can out TJ here just really quickly, this is old TJ, not new TJ, okay? He has corrected this behavior. But when he first started and he was very high handicapper, he did what the common mistake is, I feel like a lot of handicappers do, is they tell you what the trouble is. He was looking at water. He was looking at whatever, and he was like on 18 birdies or looking at through a rangefinder. Okay, this is where I don't want to go, right? And then what usually happens is you hit at the place you're thinking about that you don't want to go.
Exactly.
And so with him, I used to be like, hey, I appreciate you telling me how far a bunker is or whatever that is. But really, all I want to know is front of the green and back of the green. I want to know that yardage, and then I'm locked into like what I'm trying to do there. Yes. He has since corrected this behavior, and now he is just like asking for the number to the middle or something like that, and that's all he needs versus – the water might be 100 yards left, and he used to ask me about that, and now I'm like, no, I'm not going to tell you. Like, go ask me about the middle of the green.
I don't know whatever I was doing back then. It's a terrible habit to get into, to only be thinking about the water or the sand trap or the penalty area or whatever. I also never realized that when I had played much younger in my life and I had a nasty slice, how actually nice it kind of was to have just a nasty slice that was like repeatable and your miss was always the same. Until I got older and developed like a two-way miss for the first time in my life and was like, oh, now I aim down the middle and just hope that it goes straight. Like what? Like
it's so true.
Yeah.
Owning your swing when you're out there. If you want to see your score improve, it's knowing that I don't need to hit it in the perfect spot every time. I need to hit in a spot that I can play my next shot well.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I found that the brain in all areas of life, the brain really doesn't know how to compute not. Don't do this and not going in there. You don't want to go in the water. So it's like the brain only holds on to like the comment that you just said and the stress you feel about it. And one other thing too, that this is kind of a tip, but if you always visualize the green as being enormous, it just helps for some reason. Instead of saying, wow, that water is huge, it's going to create an ocean in your mind. But if you instead flip it to the green and you're like, well, actually the green is pretty big. I can hit the green. It kind of helps.
I started doing that on certain wedge shots where I'll go, if I'm 100 yards in, I'm going to look at a smaller circle around the flag of where I want to land this, right? If I'm 100 to 150, I'm only caring about half the green. Am I going front half, back half, something close to that, right? 150 plus, I'm just trying to hit the green. I'm just like, I want the dead middle yardage, and I just want to land it somewhere there. Because like you just said, like you want to think about what you're leaving yourself for that next shot, right? And I'm not be predictably close to the flag from 150 plus every single time. And so I feel like that is a huge unlock for people when, like, right before they swing, you go, hey, real quick, where are you aiming? And then usually it's like, oh, I'm aiming for the pin. You're like, why? You're 180 out.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
You
What
know?
exactly. No, it's so true. I really like that analogy too. Just like, okay, just get to the green. Green and regulation is something we track all the time. And like, well, why do we track it? Well, it's just
Yeah.
really important.
Yeah, and if we were better, maybe it would make more sense to know those things, right?
Mhm.
But like until you get to a repeatable part, like you should not think about it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Simplify the game for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had talked about having fun on the golf course and finding your people.
Mhm.
And I think one of the best ways to go and find some people that you like to go play with is at a driving range. I also think executive courses are a nice way to get out and meet people where it feels a little bit more relaxed. People are usually out there sometimes with a few beverages, playing a little Twilight, just trying to get a few holes in, which kind of transitions us perfectly a little bit into Bellair Golf Park,
Yes.
which is what you came on to talk about with us today.
Mhm.
So I want you to give us a little bit of background on why you chose to talk to us about Bellair, kind of what some of your first impressions of with the golf course, and then we can kind of talk about some reviews we've pulled on the internet, and then get into some of the tests that you think you'll pass.
I love it. Yes. Let's do it. Where do you want to start? I've got a lot to say.
What's your first impression like? What was your first experience with Bellair?
Yeah.
Yeah, so new owners took it on in 2021, kind of in their soft launch, like December of 2021. And I was brought in on to cover just the socials on that January 2022. So,
Okay.
yeah, and they actually just reached out because I played there. A coworker of mine was hired on they moved from working at GCU with me over to run some of the programs over at Bellair. So they had mentioned it, like come out and visit. So I did, and I posted, and then it's funny, a lot of the management team's not on socials at all. But someone that was helping with the rebrand saw the post and said, hey, we need someone to do our socials. Actually, can you just come in for an interview? And I did, and I was like, oh, not only do I know my old coworker, I know like everyone else that's here. So my first thought, was obviously the connections there, and that's very much what's valued at Bellair is their community. A lot of great relationships are established there, and a good support in the community as a whole. So that was the first, and then my second impression was just how much they were dedicated to improving the course. So much has changed. I feel like every month there's some sort of project going on, and improvement. The staff is still there from the beginning. So that core staff is still wanting to see it through and really committed. The GM says that's where he'll retire from, and he's in his 30s right now. So it's just neat to see people that are really invested. And that's why I've loved it so much. I've been there since, January 22, and it's been, I couldn't imagine leaving, because I just feel like we're all kind of invested in seeing it become the best that it can be. And, it's not quite there yet, but it's been leaps and bounds from where it was. So yeah, that's my first impression. And that's what I hope everyone else kind of sees too, is the commitment and the community that's around that course.
Mm-hmm.
It's always crazy how it never ceases to amaze how golf is just like the ultimate networking.
Oh my gosh.
And how you hear, I feel like every week I hear about another story about somebody getting a job through posting on social media, or they played at this course and they knew one person who worked there, and then it turned into this job at this other place. Like it's absolutely astounding. I think it's another thing that, like when Sean talked about, when you at first it's a hobby, and then all of a sudden when you realize it can actually become a business, it's like this greater unlock for everything.
Can I ask a question about Bellair? I get the sense from the website and reviews and photos that, like, I don't know if the GM or the new ownership are going for this, but it's kind of a third place. Like there's the work, home, and then you need a third spot, and they used to be sometimes cafes or whatever. This one feels like it's not only the course. You got like more of a hangout spot. I see food trucks, and the range is redid and all that kind of stuff. I was just curious if, like, is that the kind of vibe they're going for, somewhere that you're going to extend your time at?
Yes, that makes me so happy you mentioned that, because that is exactly what they want. They're open till 10 p.m. and so it's
Yeah.
perfect in Arizona. First off, but yeah, and it's not just like random staff there till 10 p.m. We have our managers there till 10 p.m. We have people that are really invested in the community there till 10 p.m. And we do a lot of community events too. So the neighborhood will just like walk over, and that's kind of where
Yeah.
we feel really proud to have a space where people want to spend their afternoons, even though they could be at home, but instead they just want to walk over and use our space for that. So we have a lot down the line too. We do summer nights and night golf and things like that, and trunk or treats, and it's very much community oriented. But for that, like music nights, live music, that sort of stuff. The patio is built out for that, with that in mind.
Nice. I like that.
It's interesting. It almost feels like it reminds me of what I see happen at a lot of country clubs, but that you don't see a lot of public courses doing, which is naturally embracing the community that's around them. Which is interesting. You're starting to see more of it happen. Obviously, I think Sean, what our first episode we covered Dobson, and Dobson's like a great blueprint for a lot of this that a lot of people take a lot of liking to, in terms of it's a place that people just want to kind of go and hang out. And I think you're going to continue to see this as golf continues to grow.
Yeah.
I weirdly think that you'll start seeing more things like this and less things like Topgolf and Popstroke. Where people are actually, they're less touristy or trying to get people into golf, but they're more for like, hey, the people who love golf like will come here already, and then also your community will come here as well.
Yeah. Also, Topgolf and Popstroke and others like that are cost prohibitive, in my opinion. Like, the novelty wears off, and then you realize that you are not getting to go around again and again, and you have to extend the hours if you want to extend the hours. Versus like a range, it's like, you want another bucket? Yeah, let's hit another bucket. Or it's something like the easier to like, you're not ready to give up and be done when you finish that amount of time or those holes. And I feel like, I haven't been to Bellair, but Dobson is that way, where if you're in the right mood and you're with the right people, you don't want it to end. If you don't have anywhere to be, you're like, hey, why don't we go putt over here, go chip over here, or go hit another bucket, or go have a beer? Like, that natural progression through the night is something that I get the sense that you guys offer, and that's really cool, is that I don't feel like I'm getting nickel and dimed if I decide to stay a little longer.
Exactly. Yeah, we wanted that space to be, come over and just grab a drink for $5, and have a seat and putt and chip if you want. You don't have to even buy a bucket of balls. And sometimes we have a wait list on the range, which there's a digital wait list, which hopefully helps a little bit with that, so you can still chip and putt and stuff until your bay is ready. But yeah, I mean, it's nice. Dobson has been an amazing role model in Bellair's change and kind of rebrand. And they've been so supportive along the way. So we love the team over at Dobson. And I don't get down there as much as I want to, because it's a little bit of a distance. But I love it. They've been so helpful. And again, that just shows, I think it's top down in a lot of those cases too. So the way that the management and the owners treat the course and want it to be very community oriented, it shows in both courses, really. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we think it's good to pull in a few outside perspectives about the courses that we talk about. So we kind of go and do some reviews of reviews. We're going to pull in a 5-star. We're also going to pull in a 1-star, and then we're going to let Mariah kind of confirm whether these statements are true. Maybe this person was just having a bad day. So I'll read through these, and then Mariah, you can, second and say ditto. I love that they touched on this point, and then we'll go to the 1-star after that as well.
Love it.
So kicking off with the 5-star here. Bellair Golf Park is one of my favorite places to play. It's a fun short course that's perfect for a quick round, whether you're getting started or looking to sharpen your short game. The staff is always friendly and helpful, which makes the experience even better every time I go. The driving range is a standout feature. I really enjoy dialing in my clubs with the ball tracking tech that they have. It's a great way to get instant feedback on your swing and make adjustments. I also enjoy walking the course. I walked the back 9 yesterday, and even with a slower group ahead, I finished in just 1 hour and 10 minutes walking solo. It's a great pace for someone looking to get in a quick, relaxing round. you're looking for a well-maintained, easygoing course with good vibes and a solid practice setup, Bellair is a great spot. This guy did note on his 5-star review, yesterday the greens were rough as they were aerating them, but I was told that during booking. I didn't mind. Good on him, because I see far too many people complain about cart path only, aerating the greens, like scalping the course, and it's like almost 99% of the time, the information was right there on the website when you booked.
Yeah, most likely. It is unfortunate. It's just one of those things we have to deal with in course maintenance, and I know, but everyone's entitled to their opinion, and and so it's good to know that those courses do have maintenance happening to them.
Yeah. Did Mariah write this review, by the way? This
I know. I'm like, wow. I need to look
I feel like every time we do one of these 5-star ones, it's like almost verbatim of what the person has already said about the course. Like it's crazy, but also like it just also shows that it's not just this person coming on gassing them up, right?
No, I mean, this is the business's dream review right here. It like touches on all the points, and it's got a story, but that's cool.
It nags a little bit too, where it's like, well, it had this problem, but they had let me know that it was going to be a problem as well. Like it was like they have some flaws. Yeah, they have some flaws, but they had given me ample notification about it, so they're good.
Oh my goodness, that was great.
So we're gonna dive into the 1-star here. This should be interesting. These always kind of are. This used to be a great place to play, but they continue to raise prices, and the experience continues to be worse and worse. $47 for Arizona summer prices, yet the sand traps are all dug out and completely unplayable. No one monitors the speed of play. The foursome in front of us would tee off 2 to 3 times per hole. Even reported it to the cart girl, but never saw a ranger. The group behind us was frustrated with speed as well, and we had to talk to them because they hit us twice with balls trying to rush us. Young teens and no ranger leads to safety concerns. The bag stand boys pick and choose who to help / ignore or harass. They searched my golf bag for beer, but the guy behind us brought a cooler and they loaded it without checking. They offered club cleaning to only me on our foursome. Consistency and decent customer service would make this course worth it, but pay to play at your own risk here. I will also note that I did make sure that I grabbed reviews from when the remodel went through to make sure that also it wasn't any of the old bleed over, because if we ever do this on Must Play and we dive into the history, there was quite a tumultuous period for this course in the 2010s.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's
Yeah, go ahead, Mariah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. I really love this first off. I like that we're being able to discuss both. And I'd love to talk first about the good review and then address the bad. So with the great review, I like that he mentioned the affordability and the walking aspect. One thing I always see too when I advertise, we have some green fees, especially in the summer, that are down to like $8 for walking. So I'm like, it's one of those things that people always are quick to be like, no, it's 45. I'm like, well, okay, 45, peak morning hours where it's cooler out.
On a Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get a cart as well. So, that sort of thing is good to clarify. But for those who are really looking for budget-friendly options, there are many deals out there that you can, it's almost unheard of to have around a golf for under, it's 18 holes too. So, 18 holes for under $10. If you're willing to walk in the summer. So that is the downside.
Yeah.
And also with the staff, it sounds like the second review is mostly focused on staff. And, that's, it is a make and break point for a course. The PGA's PGM program we spend several sessions on customer service. So that is obviously huge. And the management team knows that. It's always a tough one. Like we give a lot of people chances and then replace if needed. So, those reviews are really valuable to us as well, because we can see who was working at the time and have those constructive conversations about it. But yeah, there's been quite a bit of finding the right people for each of the roles. And then on the flip side, it's been really fun to see college students have an opportunity to learn golf. and learn how to improve in their roles and see them grow or be placed somewhere else. But we've had quite a few that have excelled and stayed in their roles, and then now they're able to oversee their own team, and they didn't even play golf before. So it's nice to give people options or opportunities, I should say, to learn the sport and be involved in the community. But the heart is that they do see, treat obviously the customer first, and then see the value and the vision that Bellair is trying to create. So grateful for those reviews, all of them, and know that they're well reviewed by our staff and management team. So that way, an owner, so that way the improvements, are made on each one and highlighted. But the bunkers were a big undertaking too. That was one where, on Golf Now and on our website, we can put alerts on. But that project was a big one. And now we have beautiful bunkers, but we had alerts on for a long time of like bunkers are under construction. They're going to be great. But it's like kind of like a one bunker at a time situation. So it just takes a while. And I learned so much about redoing bunkers during that season. But now you should come back out and see the great bunkers we have.
Not as easy as it seems, right?
No, yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
I'll
also say, as someone who used to work with a lot of like smaller local businesses, I always preface this to businesses that like negative reviews are not the end of the world. Mm-hmm. And to a lot of like outside eyes, it generally shows customers that you're a real business, mm-hmm. that you're a real person. There's people who run businesses and people make mistakes, right? Yeah. If I came on and saw a business that had all 4 or 5 star reviews, mm-hmm. I would probably, that's going to throw up a red flag in my brain and say, what's going on here, right? Yeah. And then also from like the business side, it gives you a ton to learn from, right? You sometimes there's a glaring thing that you don't even know that is affecting customers until somebody leaves a review about it, and you go, wait, what are they talking about? Mm-hmm. Then you dive a little bit deeper, you learn a little bit more, and then you can improve upon it.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I'll say, I don't know if this is the case, but the club cleaning part of the comment, I see this happen at clubs all the time. A certain type of customer who expects to be waited on, like I paid for this tea time, I should get the customer service, right? Mm-hmm. The poor guys cleaning clubs are juggling a million jobs. And let's say that they clean clubs for 3 groups in a row. They got to go, they're short on carts, so they got to go run to the barn and go grab something. Well, the 4th guy comes in and he's like,
where are they?
Where is everyone? Yeah. And it's like, this guy's just running his ass off trying to like make this thing run smoothly. But in his little window or snapshot, he doesn't know any of that context because he didn't see any of that go down. I'm not saying that happened here, but like I see this type of stuff and I'm like, you have to have just a little bit of, empathy for essentially a staff who's trying to run something.
Yes. You never know. Exactly. You never know the situation, that took place. And especially in the summers here too, you guys understand being out here in Phoenix, it gets to be like 120. And I think, honestly, I mean, it's really telling that this was also in the summer, because I think honestly everyone gets a little bit grumpy in the summer.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was like, summer, yes. We probably have a few more negative ones because it's just like you finished your round and you're just overheated, and you expected someone to give you a cold water and clean your towel or your bag, and maybe it wasn't there. So yeah, that unfortunately is sometimes just the heat.
Yeah. I've tipped a bad guy before in the middle of the summer, and I didn't even have him clean my clubs. I was like, "Hey, man, you need this," and I just Venmoed him $5 because I was like, "You look like you're miserable out here right now."
Yeah,
it's brutal, man. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to the cart barn guys in the middle of Arizona summers. They're the real heroes to make the golf course run round. Yeah. It's not the guy in the pro shop who's sitting in the nice air conditioning.
It is true. It's tough. And stuff. But yeah, very, very grateful for those reviews, and that, hope everyone who visits Bellair shares their honest reviews and ways of improvement too. And like we said, it could be a one-off, but that was definitely a conversation that was had with the staff, at the time. And it was not a one-sided, like, immediately they're fired by any means, because again, they're invested in long-term members, whether it's staff or community members. We want to develop those relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so we've covered the reviews. I want to take a little bit of time to let Mariah talk about 3 of the must-play tests that she thinks that Bellair will pass. But first, I want to take a moment to talk about today's episode sponsor, Devereaux Golf. So yeah, just wanted to give a quick shout out to the crew over at Devereaux Golf. They just dropped this new High Country collection, and from what I can tell, Sean and I both have equally been living in this since we got our hands on it. Sean, what have you been rocking with lately?
I'm wearing the Trouble Out West t-shirt, and I have the hat that honestly, both of them are super comfortable. And the designs on this new collection are something that are more up my alley. And it's something that you can wear on the course or even out to dinner. And honestly, my wife's happy I have something else to wear on date night.
Oh, absolutely. The new polos that they came out with are like a new, nice, more like textured fabric, and they're not your traditional like four-way stretch that's kind of clingy. Like it definitely looks like you might actually be saving these shorts more for date night than you would actually for the golf course. Yeah. So if you want to get your hands on some, you're going to head over to devereauxgolf.com. I'll spell it out again. It's DEVEREUX golf.com. We'll have it down in the description for you in case you didn't pick up on that. But just make sure that you use code FAIRWAGERS20 to get 20% off your orders all the time. All right, so Mariah, let's see where this course ranks on some of the must-play test questions. Okay. Sean and I asked you to come to the table with 3 must-play test questions that you think it's going to easily pass with flying colors. What is the first one that you wanted to take a look at?
I think was it the Augusta test? The
Augusta test. So that is this course easy to get a tee time on? Does it have a straightforward booking process? And are there tee times available the week of intended play?
Yes, I think it gets flying colors, 5 stars for the Augusta test. We have, obviously on our website, we can book, but we use Golf Now as a booking platform as well. And there's options to play pretty much every day, which is great. And with it being executive, you can ideally get through 18 pretty quickly. Goal is, you should be through by 3 hours. But we also highly prioritize pace of play. So we do have rangers and Marshall that goes around the course most occasions. But it is a beginner friendly course. So, you will have some people who are beginner friendly. One thing I really harp on in my clinics is that I recommend starting 100 yards out or anything within 100 yards out in those longer holes. We have 5 par 4s. I recommend turning those par 4s into par 3s. So that's something I think is partly etiquette, but we do teach beginner clinics and do free etiquette clinics too, to really push that pace of play. And those have been so fun to host because you get so many fun questions that from new golfers or people who don't even call themselves golfers yet, but they're just trying to learn the sport, and it's really fun to teach that. So yes, Augusta test I think is 5 stars. There's availability, and you can walk in as well. But it's nice, if you come in an hour before sunset, you can still try to get in 9 at least. And you can't really do that in many other courses.
Do you guys offer a replay rate too?
Twilight rate, is that what you said?
Replay rate.
Oh, replay. I'll have to get back to you on that, but I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. Executive courses, that's always the, like if I want a full round, executive courses these days, I convince myself that is a full round. I don't care, par 58, 59, whatever, you're getting the shot value from the par 4s and the par 3s. Mm-hmm. But because I'm getting around it in 3 hours or less, and then I've pretty much booked 6 hours with my family to be gone. I'm always tempted to be like, should I just go around again real quick and get a second shot at every one of these holes?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
it does happen quite a bit. But yeah, we don't have a special rate for that, unfortunately, that I'm aware of. But I need to double check with because things might have changed in the
let us know. We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay. What was the second test that you want to take a look at, Mariah?
Okay, I think the next one would be bang for your buck test, which I've kind of.
Okay, so question 2 on our test: is this golf course worth the rate you pay? Do you feel like this course is a good value during peak season?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think because it is executive, we do have reduced prices, even though it's full 18 holes. It also is still competitive. So pro golfers come out to play and they feel challenged by the greens. And like, who doesn't want more short game practice? So I do like that. We do a skins league or a split skins game on Wednesday. We have a league as well. But the skins game is fun because you really do challenge. You get some good golfers out there, and the green's it's still golf. It's just you're working on your iron play, and you don't rely so much on having that repetition of a driver in your hand every hole. But yeah, bang for your buck. Like I said earlier, we have rounds low as $8 during the summer seasons, and then peak seasons too. We have great deals, so you can find rounds for under $30 throughout the entire year. So it's fun if you still want to get practice in and get out, and play with, peak season. Highly recommend Bellair. Check it out because you'll definitely still get your practice in, still get to play full 18 holes, but don't have to spend hundreds.
I did actually have a note in my brain during peak season for this golf course, is that obviously I live in San Diego. We have a decent amount of San Diego listeners. If you are a person who travels to the Glendale area for spring training and goes and stays out near the Peoria Sports Complex where the Padres play or where the Mariners play, for some reason we do Pacific Northwest courses as well on our podcast. So if you go to Arizona for spring training, this course is very close to where you are staying.
Yeah.
This might actually be one of the closest course to where you're potentially staying out there. So this is all of these things that you're hearing from Mariah today. If you're someone who goes and does spring training in Arizona and happens to stay out there, go check out Bellair.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is tucked in a little neighborhood. So, sometimes it's overlooked because you have to find kind of like just a smaller road to get to the course itself. But yeah, obviously it's not that far off of the 101. So, really close to the highway and that sports complex. But I think on both ends of it, because it's really perfect when you're traveling, you can finish in, like I said, 3 hours, ideally 9 holes, even shorter. If you get the first tee time of the day, then you set the pace. Our GM has played the full 18 in 45 minutes, I think. We had
sprinting
full with the cart. And then we've had Speak Off Rob. So Rob Hogan, the Speak Off World champ.
Yeah.
He came out and played 18 in 23 minutes. Running without a cart.
Oh my God.
Yeah. What did he shoot? Do you know what he shot?
He shot 2 over, I think. Or maybe I'll give you guys those. He's so good. It was amazing. And it was like during twilight. So it was so dark. We were ready to do an event, and not a glow golf event. And he came out for that glow golf event, but he's like, I'm gonna go hit the course real fast. Hilarious. He brought his like best friend. He calls him Big Bad Bob. And Bob followed him in the cart the whole time. It was just quite the scene. They looped and came through because it's, hole one, the front nine's kind of on one side and then the back nine's on another. So he came running through the crowd of people. Everyone's cheering him on. It was a great time. So, our hole one has a plaque that says, Speak Off Rob played this course in 23 minutes. We don't have to say you're that fast, but please keep pace of play. So it's kind of fun to lean into it. We know it's an ongoing.
A great reminder.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely an ongoing topic that we focus on is pace of play. I think any course kind of struggles with keeping people on pace, but yeah, as long as you can bring humor into it and tell people to strategize kind of when you come out, and then you're set.
Yeah,
very cool. Okay, and then what was the third test that you wanted to look at today here?
Yeah, okay, so the inversion test, the practice facilities, and
the Iverson test. Does this course have good practice facilities? Would you spend time warming up or just head to the bar before the round? Now, I know you said that there's $5 drinks.
Exactly.
So you got to be having some pretty good practice facilities here.
Definitely. Both, actually. So I want to touch on this one because it's both. They have the shot tracing technology on the range, and then there is a large chipping and putting green, and then a secondary putting green too. So I think you can get there early, kind of dial in your irons and the distances you want to hit that day, and you have all the technology to help you do so. But then there is that nice patio area, so you can get there early, enjoy it, stay after. And for guests that are in the area too, you can get your round in quick, but then you can hang out till 10 p.m. So it's just, sometimes it's hard to find things to do in the summer, especially here.
Yeah.
And it's nice that, we are open late, so you can just come and hang out, have a drink, putt, or you can go to the range, and yeah, enjoy both. And it's pretty fun too. We have a power tee, so that's kind of a newer. It's just a mat essentially, but that has a ball underneath it that comes up off the out of the ground. So you put your balls in the ground, and then they can pop up on the tee. So just little things like that is always being improved upon on the range, and kind of I feel like every time someone comes to visit, there's something new happening or something new that's been improved on. So it's kind of fun to keep bringing new stuff to our guests.
Nice. The ball coming up from the mat, there's rest in peace Cracker Jacks. It was called back in Scottsdale. TJ knows Cracker Jacks. But this place was a driving range / like goat carts and bumper boats and everything. But the sound of the balls rolling through the tubes and then filling is like a core childhood memory. And I forget where I was, but I heard a sound that like sounded like that, and it took me back to Cracker Jacks as a kid. It was such a fun memory.
Fun, yeah. This is a good spot.
R.I.P.
I know, really. Well, it's kind of the connection to Bellair with Cracker Jacks. I don't know if they want me saying this or not, but I mean, this of course has been very much small business from the start. Very family oriented, and a lot of family involvement as far as getting it started in the rebrand, but. When Cracker Jacks closed, their range was just like sitting there, and all those golf balls were sitting there. So if we have a review from back in the day, like 2022, about how bad the range balls were, they were really bad. But they were because the GM and his family and the owner went out and handpicked all those balls from Cracker Jacks. First, but I mean, they bought, I don't know how much they paid.
That is too funny.
Golf balls, but that's what they couldn't get during COVID. They couldn't get golf balls in, so range balls. So they're like, where can we find them? And they were driving all over the place to get. So they got some from Cracker Jacks. I think they went out to California, and another range was shut down, and they picked balls from there. It was crazy.
Wow,
kind of crazy.
Hey man, whatever you got to do, like that's the type of stuff that's like, you want to talk about like pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and just like doing the actual work. Like.
Yeah.
There's the we can just pay like a ridiculous amount, or we can just go and try and do whatever we can possibly do to get. That's awesome though.
That's so funny that I brought that up, and there's a connection.
I'm glad,
So
waterlogged balls from Cracker Jacks.
I had one other question for you real quick. So since you're better at golf than us, and you were a college golfer, and we just talked about the practice.
Now, if I'm better, we'll have to find out. I think we'll play Bellair and see.
Yeah, you're definitely better than.
You're probably better and more disciplined. If you had a bucket of 20 balls and you're warming up before the round, how are you using those 20 balls?
Yeah. So let's see, 20. I'll probably start with my 56 just to kind of get loosened up, hit just a couple, then switch right to my 7 or 8 depending on the day. The range I want to keep happy vibes. So my 8 is my favorite club. My 7 sometimes can get squirrely, so it just depends on if I want to deal with it or not. Which just sounds so funny. I shouldn't have that opinion about them, but that's always been a thing.
We all do though.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's really not good for the mental game. But yeah, 8 iron is a happy place. So I'll probably hit a few 8 irons till I feel good. Dial in that distance, depending on where I'm at. If I'm hitting off of mats like Bellair, for example, there are mats there. So I take that into account, and I take the distance with like a grain of salt. I think good. I recommend any golfer to take notes every time they go to a different range, because the range balls change. Like Dobson has flighted balls, so they're not going to go as far as what you would see with your standard golf balls in your bag. So yeah, just kind of get a general idea on how far it's going that day, and what direction it might be going. And then I'll jump up into hitting just a couple hybrids and then a couple woods, because I feel like there's such a difference in those, and I hate to pull out my 3 wood for the first time on the golf course. And then I like to hit a lot of drivers, so I probably see what's left, hit drivers till I'm happy, and then finish with a couple pitch shots, 50 yards or so.
Okay.
Chip shots, I should say. 50 to 100 yards.
It's hard when there's only a small bucket, or maybe you're crunched on time, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have a very similar progression to you where I start with the wedge, I work to the driver, and then I end with the wedge because I don't want to end with swinging out of my shoes or something like that right before.
Exactly.
Um, but I've noticed in the past that when I have more time or I have a medium bucket, that that same progression actually is harming me more than it's helping me
Mhm.
because I'm like building up to the longer swings, and then come time for the hole, you're making a bigger gap in clubs between the shots.
That's a good point.
So for the small bucket, it's good to like actually limber up and loosen up and hit the progression. But in the medium buckets or whatnot, I was talking with an instructor at another course, and he had me do something different where he was like, pretend you're on some of these holes. Like, what are the first three holes at the course? And it's a par four, par four, par five. He's like, play the holes. So I started driver, which I never start driver at a range. That's like a big no for me. But he was like, no, just do it.
Yeah.
And I hit an okay driver. But then that one swing got me loosened up. So then I had like, I think a 7-iron left. And I hit like one of the best 7-irons off the range.
No.
And then the par four came next. So I hit driver again. And that next driver swing was like dialed. And
Wow.
I don't know if it worked better for me or not. I don't remember, but I just remember the confidence level I had was through the roof on that range session.
I like
so
that.
I've tried to start doing that more often, but when it's only 20 balls, it's really hard to convince myself to go do that because I'm like, I'm wasting this. Like, if it doesn't go well, I don't have that many left. And I go back to the other thing.
That's true.
Try being a bad, inconsistent golfer and only having 20 balls
Yeah.
to hit.
Just trying to find the face.
Because, oh my God, just being like, all right, like, I always know that, like, literally, I'm the opposite of you guys, where, like, the last ball I hit is always my last good driver. And if you start to get down to, like, the last 5 balls in the bucket and you're still not hitting a good driver, and you're like, oh no, like, I'm gonna leave myself. Like, I could walk out on the golf course just in absolute shambles.
Yeah.
But that's for me and my therapist to talk about, not here on this podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like that. I mean, that goes back to visualizing, right? Like, you're already starting to hit your ball in
100%.
the right place. Yeah, that's good. I mean, and I like that perspective of, like, instead of using that bucket in the warm up time on the range before your round to just get loosened up, like, use it more efficiently. Like, you can get loosened up by doing air swings and stretching, instead of using the big balls for that.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
We Sean and I have a buddy who will be very early to a round and not swing a single club for 45 minutes. He will stand around, he'll get a cocktail, he'll stretch, he'll talk shit to everybody, will not swing a club. He'll maybe putt.
He just did this last week with Jones. Both of them showed up 5 minutes before a round at Presidio Golf Course, and it was foggy and cold and wet.
Wow.
They didn't swing a single club, and I looked at our fourth, who I knew, and I was like, that's a mistake. They're going to pay that off. Sure enough, first hole didn't work out for him.
Oh,
But yeah.
no. Isn't that
Okay.
funny how it makes us feel a little better when they actually don't?
Yeah. If they hit a
For
good
sure,
one, I'd
right?
be like,
I hate that. It makes me so
Uh-huh.
happy.
yeah.
All right. Before we close out here, I had a few fun facts about Bellair. Mariah, you had talked on one where it reopened to the public in 2021 after being sold at auction, which is crazy to think that a golf course was in a state to be auctioned off in 2021 when golf was surging. So that's an interesting note. The other one here was that it was originally built as a part of Glendale's first master planned community. A thing that we have come to know as Phoenicians and as Arizonans, and they were enticing people to, quote unquote, live on the course. That was the allure of going to live at the Bellair community, which is obviously now a massive trend that you saw spread throughout all of, like, Phoenix's northwestern exposure and throughout the rest of the state.
Yeah.
Obviously, as North Scottsdale ballooned up, and now you have houses all along every golf course in North Scottsdale.
That's true.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, fun, definitely fun facts. The course has quite a bit of history. I feel like for just being, built in the 70s, because of the community involvement. And there is an HOA that we partner with, quite a bit for community events, or just, they put all of our events in their newsletter. And so it's fun. We work really well with the community and want to continue to have a good relationship there. But yeah, and that's part of the history of the course too. When it was shut down, there was a lot of community members came in before the current owner, but it came in and wanted to try to restore the course and put a lot of labor and volunteer hours into it. So that's part of the history that we don't want to overlook, and we want to give back to the community as much as possible, because a lot of people put their sweat into it, and it was kind of an emotional. It sounds like emotional time to have that course for auction too. So. The owner knows that it was a really valuable place for the community, and definitely gives back as much as they can, listens to every member that has, concerns too. But yeah, what a crazy time to buy a course. It's kind of like everyone's dream, but then also, the situation wasn't the best either. So there's a lot, you inherited a lot of work or bought a lot of work. But also it's like kind of like everyone's like dream, like, oh my gosh, can you buy a golf course at auction? Like what, can you get a good deal on?
There's a driving range out here in San Diego that I just like, if it ever for some reason goes up, I'm contacting every content creator and every small business owner and golfer that I know in San Diego and being like, we can fix this. Like, I know we can fix this thing. And I don't think it ever will be, because I think it does well where it's at, but it could be so much better. So it's good to hear that they took this, embraced it, and it sounds like it's absolutely flourishing right now.
And thriving.
Yeah, always more to come. We're always trying to, what's unique about Bellair is that it's small enough and so managed in a way that is so close to home, I should say, that we're able to do a lot. For example, when it comes to content creation too, we are very open to having content creators on the course, and their spaces. A benefit of my experience in that is that I know how to do the content creation without slowing down pace of play, because that's always an issue, right? But there are spaces on the course that have a course in the background where you can still film and not interrupt the pace of play, or be,
that's good.
Yeah, or even be playing. So, for example, last year we had a crew come out and spend 24 hours on the course, which is like kind of unheard of. They camped out. And it's just nice to have a space that we allow for that, and we help coordinate it. And so I'm proud to be a part of a place that's open to doing things like that. And that's, the benefit of having, I think, a smaller executive course too.
Where did they sleep?
Yeah. And
so many questions, right? Behind the pro shop. And we told the neighbors and we told the alarm system, because that's another thing. And we obviously had to turn off the sprinklers. But, basically I was like, if any cops show up, like, don't call me.
Wow.
Our GM's number.
I can imagine explaining to the cops, I promise this is not I'm not just.
Yeah. I'm not trespassing. We're filming content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was quite interesting.
Yeah. So fingers crossed. Ultimately, our goal with all of our Level Select podcasts is to eventually come out, hopefully get to play the course. Yeah. Preferably with you, and then we can have you come back on. We can rate the podcast and put it through the full must-play test. But again, I want to thank you so much for hopping on with us. It was obviously great to chat Bellair. I want to leave a spot here for you to kind of promote whatever else you've got going on. I know you talked about being in front of the camera during the Grass Clippings Open coming up in December. Mm-hmm. But anything else you got coming up that you want to plug, Mariah?
Yeah. So I'm actually leaving this weekend for the 100-hole hike. So that benefits Youth on Course, and Youth on Course we partner with at Bellair as well. They offer children 18 and under, individuals 18 and under, I should say, rounds of golf for $5 or less in some cases. So definitely a program we want to support, but I'm excited to head out and do a fundraiser event in California for that. So that's coming up, and I just always try to post, like I said, educational stuff best I can. So very active on the online community, whether it's the Bellair page or my Miss Swag Golf page. I want to hear what people want to see and any questions in that area too. So we'd love to share that. And I think one final plug would be Bellair does, you mentioned Glow Golf. So even as our season, people coming and visiting and stuff, I always love to put a bug in people's ear that we love to do private Glow Golf events. So it's only like
Ah.
$3,000, and you can divide that up against your, with all the players involved. But to host a private glow golf event. So if you have a group coming out, we'll help promote it too. So if you only have 30 people to fill, we can help with trying to get the extra filled. But I think it's a really unique opportunity to play something kind of that's a novelty and glow golf, and also the fact that we can do it for your private event or business is kind of always a fun aspect to kind of throw out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much again. I want to remind everybody at home, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, give us a comment, jump in there. And if you're watching on any of our podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, don't forget to rate Must Play 5 stars and give us a follow.
Absolutely.
Mariah, thank you again so much for hopping on. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation and the questions, and looking forward to our round.